The story begins with a boy whose name is never mentioned, but who enjoys all kinds of flavors. What he truly loves is savoring things, even those most people hate. He enjoys every taste, except one, breast milk. That one, he just can't tolerate. Whenever his mom argued with his dad, she would always say the same thing. I'm going to an island where neither you nor your father will ever find me. His dad's a taxi driver who works all day long. In fact, he barely even remembers his father's face because he hardly ever sees him. While growing up, the boy tried his best to get his mom to stay with him. He was a good kid, got good grades, behaved politely, and did everything he could to avoid causing trouble. Still, his mom often warned him, "If you want to keep living with me, you have to obey me to the letter." And then, one day, she just left. She left a note that read, "Don't look for me. Just live a good life with your dad." And so, even though he'd been an obedient child, he was abandoned. He cries for his mother, and then wakes up from the nightmare. The protagonist doesn't want to go through that again, so he chooses to forget. As he steps outside, a girl walks by and asks, "Do you have a death wish or something?" She says this while watching him eat powdered milk. She jokes, "My God, I almost reported you to animal services. You pig, what's your problem? Why are you so upset? Dream about your mom again?" "Yeah," he replies. We're told that ever since his mother left him, possibly due to lack of affection, he started consuming powdered milk every day, and it became a habit. The girl who just barged into his house like it's nothing is his childhood friend, Kwon-sun. She rushes him so they won't be late, but he keeps eating powdered milk as he complains. The protagonist's name is Shin Shuho. We learn that he and Sun went to elementary school, middle school, and now university together. They both study culinary arts. They've been inseparable for a long time. As they head to class, Shuho asks, "Why do you follow me everywhere? The only thing left is for you to join the army with me." "Who's following you, you dumb fatso?" Sun snaps, offended. "Fatso? Yeah, I'm fat, but fat people have feelings too." Sun grabs a chunk of his belly, which makes him mad enough to punch her lightly on the shoulder. Even so, she seriously tells him that he should take care of himself. If he keeps going like this, he might get sick. He promises to change once he enlists in the army. At that moment, a beautiful girl calls out his name, Kan Yesul. Shuho lights up when he sees her. She's drinking something he gave her, so he quickly thanks her. She hurries off, saying she's late for class. A lot of guys stare at her. She's a first-year business administration student and already popular thanks to word-of-mouth recommendations. Shuho is thrilled that she remembered his gift. Sun scolds him, "You never give me anything!" In cooking class, the professor is frying vegetables while teaching them to enjoy the process of cooking. Her name is Nawila, she's 40 years old, a culinary star, and part of the school's leadership. Shuho focuses as she gives the final tips on how to prepare the perfect steak. She goes around checking everyone's dishes, until she gets to Shuho's. The moment she sees it, she says it's perfect. The plating, the aroma. No wonder he's the ace of the cooking department. But she notices something. Where's the other ace? That other ace is Yoon Min-jae. In fact, the core trio of the story consists of Sun, Shuho, and Min-jae. They've been best friends since elementary school. Min-jae comes from a wealthy family. His dad is a celebrity chef on a cooking show. The three of them shared elementary, middle, and now university. They share the same dreams and goals, making them inseparable. That night, in Shuho's apartment, he and Sun are drinking juice in excess. "Why are you guys so frustrated and drinking like crazy?" Because Min-jae betrayed Shuho's trust. Sun asks why he's still mad at Min-jae when what happened was 2 months ago. What did he even do? He started dating the girl Shuho likes, Yesul. One day, Shuho told his friends that he liked Yesul, that he thought she was really pretty. Min-jae, upon hearing this, jumped ahead and started dating her. That was enough to make Shuho furious. But it didn't stop there. Every time they cross paths, Min-jae gives him a smug look. With friends like that, who needs enemies? Sun tries to change the topic. "Hey, enough of that. Tell me instead, is your mom the reason you're traumatized about boobs?" "Yeah, she was terrifying. She literally brainwashed me by saying she'd leave for an island just to scare me." After saying that, Shuho falls asleep, and while sleeping, he licks his lips, reliving his trauma. He whispers through tears, "Mom, don't go. I miss you so much." Sun watches all this and ends up crying next to him. And in that moment, she breastfeeds him. Yeah, it's pretty random. Afterward, Shoho feels a bit better, and Sun leaves his house, thinking this is starting to become a pattern. Every time they drink juice, they end up like this. The next morning, they're in cooking class. The professor is teaching them how to make broth. Shoho does his best, though it's clear he has a hangover. Next to him, Sun teases him for being behind. You stayed up late, didn't you? That's not why. They joke around. Their bond is strong. Behind them, Min-jae watches silently, filled with hate. He stares at Sun and thinks, Girl, I've always liked you, but you never pay me any attention. You're always focused on that pig Shoho. Why? At the end of class, the professor tastes everyone's dishes to determine the day's best one. Shoho and Min-jae end up tied for first place, since the professor couldn't decide which dish was better. Everyone claps for both of them. While Shoho beams with joy, Min-jae is disappointed once again, for having to share first place with Shoho. And it stings even more to see Shoho walking away with Sun. That night, Shoho and Sun walk home together. She says, Hey, last night you cried your eyes out close to midnight. Really? Yeah. You were shouting Mom, and crying. It was pitiful. Shoho replies, I dreamed about my mom, but you were in the dream too. That makes Sun nervous. Me? How did I show up? Well, if I tell you, it'll sound kind of weird. Just tell me, it's fine. As he prays she won't misunderstand, he confesses. In the dream, you were breastfeeding me. Sun, horrified, kicks him and yells, How dare you say that to me? Are you insane? Shoho, annoyed, fires back. But you asked me to tell you. Can't I even dream about it if it's just a dream? At that moment, a car pulls up behind them. It's Min-jae, with Yesol beside him. It's her birthday. Just seeing her makes Shoho happy. Yesol really is stunning. Min-jae says to Sun, Hey, want a ride home? Then turns to Shoho. And you've gained a lot of weight. You should walk. It'd be good for your health. That comment annoys Shoho, but he stays quiet since Yesol is right there. Sun turns down the ride. She'd rather walk with Shoho. They plan to go drink some juice together. Min-jae drives off, stepping on the gas, clearly pissed. Yesol notices his mood and figures it's because of Sun. When they get home, Min-jae takes out his frustration on Yesol. They read the Bible together, but he can't stop thinking about how Sun was with Shoho. We're shown a flashback where Min-jae confessed to Sun, but she brushed him off. He grabbed her arm and asked, Didn't you hear me? Do you think it's funny to play with people's feelings? Sun replied, Why'd you throw that hot potato at me? Min-jae insisted. I don't want to just be your friend anymore. Friend? That's like being the mouse in a cheese trap. Please go out with me. Sun stopped him and said if he kept acting like that, he'd lose his best friend. She walked away, and as she left, Min-jae shouted, You say you're my friend, but you're always with Shoho. Don't deny it, you know it. You guys always leave me out, and it pisses me off. Sun replied, Shoho's just a friend, same as you. But unlike you, he needs me. He has no mom. I'm just a good friend looking out for him. If you're going to get this jealous, we better stop being friends. That made Min-jae even angrier, and that's why he's with Yesol now. But Yesol has her own reasons for sticking close to Shoho. When she went to meet Shoho's family, his father welcomed her enthusiastically. She's a big fan of his cooking show. He asked her, Are you interested in hotel management? Yes, that's right, she replied. Then keep up in class. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll manage one of my restaurants. That made a light bulb go off in Yesol's head. Shoho got angry at his dad for saying that, but Yesol was thrilled. She saw a chance to become the family's daughter-in-law and eventually run her own hotel. That's what motivates her to stick with Shoho. That night, at a restaurant in Malagana, Sun arrives. A woman tells her she's late, and a cheerful man asks how things are going at university. It's soon revealed the woman is her mother, and the man is her father. Her mother scolds her for drinking the night before and being late again today. We're told they've been running that restaurant for 15 years. In pain, Sun explains that she was late because she was cheering Shoho up. He'd been feeling down. Ugh, you two, why don't you just get married already? That comment grosses Sun out. Why that face? You've been stuck together since you were kids. Don't tell me you don't like him. No, we're just friends. We could sleep in the same room and nothing would happen. Her dad says that if Shoho were to become part of the family, he'd welcome him as a son-in-law. Although he adds, he should lose a little weight though. That annoys Sun, who insists they're just friends. Her parents laugh. We were just friends too. Look at us now. In other words, they hit her with the OL. Friendship cheese trap. Tired of the talk, Sun excuses herself and heads to her room. Meanwhile, Shiho is at home, eating powdered milk. In her room, Sun reflects on why she's still so close to Shiho. It's not just friendship, there's a deeper reason. When Shiho's mom left, Sun, still a little girl, ran into her on the way out. The woman recognized her and asked, "Are you one of the girls always with my son?" Sun said yes. "What's with the suitcase?" she asked. "I'm going on a trip. I need some fresh air. I won't be around for a while, but you can come play with Shiho later." Sun agreed. She then saw the woman leave with her suitcase. And we know what happened next. Shiho found the letter and broke down crying before running off. His mother looked exhausted and pushed away anyone in her path, including Sun. In the letter, she asked not to be looked for. She wasn't coming back. From then on, at just 11 years old, Sun became the only witness to her disappearance. When she met Shiho afterward, he asked if she'd seen his mom. She had told him she was coming home to pick up a few things. Sun lied. "No. When I got there, everything was already locked up, so I left." Since that day, Sun promised herself she'd be like Shiho's mother, but she'd never abandon him. And she's kept that promise to this day. Meanwhile, in a guest house, Min-jae still doesn't understand why Shiho and Sun are always together. The next day at university, Shiho makes some funny faces, a habit he has of licking his lips while sleeping, and Sun corrects him. Then Yeol appears and stops to talk to Shiho. The moment she arrives, Shiho lights up, but the air between her and Sun is tense. Yeol thinks to herself, "Why the hell is Thunder still talking to that bitch?" Still, she says, "How are you, Sun?" Shiho asks if she's also there to study, but Yeol cuts right to the chase. "Would you like to have lunch with me? It's just Min-jae didn't come today, and I don't want to eat alone," she adds. Shiho answers, "Of course I'd love to, but I already made plans with Sun to check out a new restaurant that just opened. So how about the three of us go?" Yeol declines. "I wouldn't want to interrupt your date. Let's eat together another time." What she's really doing is forcing Shiho to choose between her and Sun. Without a second thought, Shiho tells Sun they can just go another day. "No problem," Sun says. "It's settled then," adds Yeol, which makes Sun want to kill him. And with all the gall in the world, Yeol tells Sun, "Sorry for stealing him from you." "It's fine," Sun replies. Yeol then tells Shiho, "Let's go right now." Shiho gets up, but not before touching Sun's shoulder and saying, "This is just to show you how sexy I am. This guy's on another planet." And off they go, leaving Sun behind. Yeol thinks as they walk away, "Even lifelong friends will ditch you right in front of me." They arrive at the restaurant and start eating. Shiho speaks first, asking why Yeol wanted him there. She calmly replies, "I didn't need anything from you." That throws him off. "Then, why am I here?" "Because you're always with Sun. If you never left her side, I'd never get the chance to eat with you," Shiho says. "Next time, just tell me directly." She doesn't even notice what's going on with me. "If that's how it is, then next time, instead of eating, we should go have some juice," Yeol replies. As her nose starts to bleed, she adds, "Sounds great to me." Night falls. In Minji's car, he asks her, "Did you eat with Shiho?" "Yeah. I went with him because you weren't there. I felt lonely. I figured." "So, was it the three of you?" "No. For some reason, I always feel Sun glaring at me whenever I'm with Shiho. Could it be that she has unrequited feelings for him? Just think about it. They're always attached at the hip, yet he completely lost his cool because of me. There's something different about the way Sun feels." Hearing that, Min-jae gets pissed and tells her to shut up, and then they do the fruity fantastic. But not just that. They also go out at midnight to preach in public. When they finish, Min-jae says, "If I told you to mess with Shiho, would you do it? You'd probably enjoy spending the weekend with Shiho and Sun." The next day, the professor is saying goodbye to his students. Shiho invites Sun to the restaurant they didn't get to visit the day before. But she refuses. She's still hurt he abandoned her. "Abandoned you? Didn't you say you weren't coming with us? Are you questioning my loyalty?" Angry, she punches him. "Loyalty? You left me all alone." Shiho apologizes. "I was blinded by love. That's all." "Are you insane? She's your friend's girlfriend. Did you forget that?" Just then, Min-jae shows up and overhears the entire conversation. "Wow, talking about my girlfriend, huh?" Instead of getting mad, he says, "Whatever. I actually wanted to talk to you too. My dad's going to be signing a new show, and his vacation house will be free this weekend. Wanna come with me? Like old times." Shuho immediately declines. But the second Min-jae mentions that Yesul will be there too, Shuho switches into simp mode. Min-jae adds, "The four of us have never hung out together. I want to have a barbecue." Sun's skeptical and asks, "And what are we doing afterward?" "Sleeping." On the other hand, the protagonist is already hyped. "I'll only go if I get to cook the barbecue." Cut to the weekend. The protagonist and Sun arrive at Min-jae's vacation house. Min-jae greets them along with Yesul and invites them in for a good meal. Everything seems normal, but that day, the protagonist's life is about to change forever. That night, during the barbecue, Sun is grilling the meat while Yesul sets the table. Watching her move, Yesul realizes Sun has a great figure. In the kitchen, the protagonist is calmly making pasta while singing. Min-jae is getting ready, putting on cologne, remembering how one day he used too much and Sun told him he smelled good, but that he should use less. Once he's ready, he walks out of the bathroom and runs into the protagonist. "Is that Vongol pasta?" "Yeah," he replies. Yesul said it's her favorite. In that moment, he realizes he's talking to Yesul's boyfriend and apologizes for having feelings for her. But instead of getting angry, Min-jae tells him he should confess, because back before they started dating, he liked Yesul too. The protagonist is shocked, but Min-jae keeps going. "Don't you want to be with Yesul? Then go to her. She's waiting for you, to taste your flavor." Everyone sits down to eat. Yesul is the first to try the food, and it's so good it gives her goosebumps. Min-jae notices and takes a bite, only to feel like he's entered a whole new dimension. Meanwhile, Sun starts wolfing the food down along with Yesul. They all realize the protagonist has leveled up in his cooking. Min-jae is furious, and starts thinking about how to get rid of him, that very night. After eating, they sit down to drink juice. Since they're already tipsy, with the alcohol clearly kicking in, they start talking without holding back. Sun tells Shuho that she's been watching him a lot, which makes him angry because he says he would never look at her as anything other than a friend. Yesul comments, "You two look cute." "You're even cuter," Shuho replies. Then things get serious when Min-jae suggests a challenge, to see who can drink the most juice. Shuho gets excited, but Sun looks unsure. The game is truth-based. If you answer honestly, you don't drink. If you refuse to answer, you have to drink, and take off a piece of clothing. Everyone's shocked. Sun tells him he's clearly drunk and not thinking straight, but he insists nothing bad will happen. Besides, they're so exhausted they probably won't remember anything the next day. Eventually, everyone agrees to play. Before starting, Min-jae asks Sun if she's comfortable with her body. She confidently answers, "Of course. I have a sexy body." Then she lies down next to Shuho, which irritates him. "If you don't move right now, I'm gonna hit you," he says. To make things fair, Min-jae removes his watch as if it were clothing, and takes off Yesul's headband. But just like Sun said, no one's scared here. She takes off hers too, declaring that she's the star of the show. Then she turns to the protagonist and asks if he wants to take something off, which makes him even more upset. Yesul defends him. "He might be chubby, but he's a proud pig," he snaps back. Well, that didn't help at all, and so, the first round begins. Min-jae throws the first bomb at Sun. "Why are you so attached to Shuho? And don't say it's just because you're friends. What's the real reason?" Shuho and Yesul are curious too, but instead of answering, Sun removes an article of clothing. Yesul is shocked and comments that she must work out a lot. Min-jae gets annoyed. He thinks whatever Sun is hiding must be pretty deep if she'd rather undress than admit it. "Do you like Shuho that much?" he asks, but stops himself. "I already asked my question, I can't press further." Next, it's Sun's turn to ask, and she targets Yesul. "Are you dating Min-jae just because his dad is a TV star? Do you think that'll help your career?" Min-jae is relieved by the question, but then something unexpected happens. Yesul also removes a piece of clothing instead of answering. "It wasn't that hard to answer," Min-jae tells her. "I guess having a famous dad did influence things a bit," he adds. But Yesul fires back angrily. "I'm taking off my clothes." "Don't say dumb crap, Mary Jane." Shuho looks genuinely worried about Yesul, though her boyfriend doesn't seem to care. After a brief argument, they decide to go for one last question. Now it's Yesul's turn, and she looks straight at the protagonist. "If we went to church on Sunday, who would you want to read the Bible with?" She giggles. "Come on, guys. Read between the lines. With Yesul, or with Sun." The atmosphere turns tense. No one really understands what Yesul is getting at, least of all the protagonist, who starts sweating nervously. He thinks, I can't say Yesul because they'll all suspect something, but if I say Sun, it sounds cocky. He also doesn't want to take off his clothes because he's embarrassed for Yesul to see his body. He looks at Sun for help, but she kicks him. With no way out, he removes a piece of clothing. Everyone's reaction says it all. His body is the opposite of what's considered ideal. Seeing him shirtless, Sun becomes even more worried. In terms of mass, he's overboard, she thinks. The protagonist hangs his head in shame. Yesul approaches him and, trying to comfort him, says he doesn't need to feel bad. She tells him he reminds her of something she really loves, a teddy bear. You're cute, she says, but Sun clearly doesn't like that comment. And just like that, the game ends. Everyone gets dressed again. Yesul asks the protagonist to go out for some fresh air, leaving Sun and Min Jae inside the house. Dude, I feel like something awful is coming. They step outside, sit facing each other, and Yesul drops the first bomb. What do you like about me? Without thinking much, Shiho replies, you're very pretty. So you only like me because I'm pretty? I thought you were different from other guys. No, it's not just that. Then what is it? It's that you remind me of my mom. You know that's worse than saying I'm just pretty? I'm not explaining it right. Let me try. When I was little, my mom abandoned my dad and me. There's not a day that goes by where I don't feel the weight of that. Shiho opens up to Yesul about his trauma and finishes by saying, that's why I'd like to see a woman like her every day. And you look a lot like my mother. Yesul is moved. She takes his hand, stands up, and hugs him. Hey Shiho, you can count on me for anything. Then she gently holds his face and asks, are you really just friends with Sun? I think what we have goes beyond friendship. We're like family. Meanwhile, Sun is asleep, but Min Jae is watching her. He sits next to her with bad intentions, but when he sees her, he stops and bursts into tears. He wipes his eyes, realizing she's still the same fierce woman as always, and decides he's going to separate her from Shiho that very night. As for Shiho, he's getting a little fan service. Yesul tells him to come to her room at 3 a.m. Lying in bed, he waits. At exactly 3 o'clock, he quietly gets up. Sun is sound asleep. He tiptoes upstairs, just like they agreed, trying not to make a sound. But as he approaches the door, he walks into a scene he never expected. Yesul is having sex with his best friend, while talking trash about Shiho. Can we please stop talking about the piggy already? Yesul says. That comment breaks him. He tells us that his biggest trauma was the note his mother left when she left them, until now. This becomes his second biggest trauma. Without thinking, he runs away like a coward at 3 a.m., leaving everything behind. Clearly, Yesul and Min Jae notice and start laughing. Looks like we shocked the little piggy. Yeah, it was perfect. Everything went just as you planned, Yesul says, reminding him of their deal. Now he has to get her an internship at his dad's restaurant over the break. They continue getting intimate. The next morning, Sun wakes up and realizes Shiho is gone. She calls and texts him, but gets no reply. Frustrated, she mutters that he left without her. She leaves after noticing everyone else is still asleep. She walks home alone, angry. At Shiho's house, he's consumed by rage toward both Yesul and his best friend. After remembering the phrase, let's stop talking about the piggy, he loses it and throws a can of powdered milk on the floor, swearing revenge. At college, people are looking for Shiho. He hasn't shown up for 3 days. They ask Sun about it, clearly concerned. She says she'll check on him after class. This makes Min Jae smile. Everything is going according to plan. And that's what she does. After class, Sun goes to Shiho's place. She knocks over and over, but he never answers. We see a scene inside. The place is full of ants, drinks spilled everywhere, and Shiho lying there, completely ignoring the door. A neighbor yells at Sun to stop knocking, saying he either doesn't want to open or isn't home. Sun apologizes and walks away, deeply worried she couldn't see him. Shiho continues to cry, muttering that he's going to get revenge. But even now, deep down, he still wishes to see Yesul again. Sun remembers when she went to visit that shitty couple, and asked them, are you the reason Shiho disappeared? Min Jae replies, maybe. After all, while I was dunking the cho with Yesul, we left the door open. At the university, a very attractive professor in her 40s named Nawila walks into the classroom. Everyone goes crazy over her. She's seductive and charismatic. Back in the day, she was a fashion icon. Besides being a professor, She also hosts a very popular TV show that she's invited many students to. She's especially fond of Shuho because he's always been kind to her. She approaches Sun to ask why Shuho hasn't been showing up. If he doesn't come soon, she'll have to pick someone else for the show. Min-jae, listening from the back of the room, can barely contain his joy. Later, while the professor works in her office, someone knocks on the door. It's Min-jae. He walks in and proposes that he take Shuho's place on the show instead of Sun. A few days later, the protagonist has lost track of time. He realizes he hasn't checked his phone in days. When he finally does, the first thing he sees is Min-jae on the professor's show. Everyone is praising how good-looking he is. Then the professor reveals that Min-jae is the son of a famous celebrity chef. The media goes wild. Not only that, comments start pouring in, like, finally, the producers did something smart and ditched the piggy. 5 seconds of watching the new guy and my eyes are blessed. Thousands of hateful comments tear into the protagonist, making him want to escape reality. Even the professor, after reading the comments, thinks people are being way too harsh on Shuho. Meanwhile, Min-jae is under her desk, massaging her feet and asking if she'd like to read the Bible. She blushes. He always knew she was the protagonist's favorite. That's why he wants to take everything from him, including her. They start eating ramen. Meanwhile, the protagonist is on a train. The people next to him are visibly uncomfortable, whispering because he takes up too much space. He can feel their judgment, that he's disgusting, a pig. To make it worse, he remembers Yusul's words. He stands up, but nothing changes. The weight of judgment is still there. When he gets home, he finds Sun waiting at the door. It surprises him. She stayed late just to see him. But as she walks up to him, he says, "Why are you blocking someone else's door? Move. I need to get inside." That offends her. She stands up and approaches him. Nervous, the protagonist imagines she's about to punch him, maybe kick him, or even crush his balls. He braces for the worst, but Sun just hugs him. "You idiot piggy. You really had me worried." The protagonist pulls away, uncomfortable. "Sun, do you really see me as a man?" Sun asks. "What are you talking about? Why would you even ask that?" He answers, "I don't understand why you're so obsessed with me. Why are you still here? Can't a friend be worried about a missing friend? Alright then. Do you breastfeed your friends?" That word catches Sun off guard. The protagonist continues, "That night wasn't a dream. Every time we've gotten drunk, you've always been the one who drank the most." We cut to the moment when Min-jae has already slept with the professor. He steps outside for some air, remembering what happened the night before he started dating Yusul. The three friends were tired and went straight to the protagonist's house. Sun fell asleep and wanted to rest a bit before leaving. Min-jae didn't care. He was too busy watching Shuho making weird faces with his lips, still traumatized by what he had seen. Shuho left the house, but soon realized he had forgotten his phone and went back to get it. When he returned, he caught a glimpse of the protagonist with Sun, causing him to flee in a panic, filled with deep resentment. And worst of all, the protagonist realized that Shuho had seen them. Since then, he'd been wondering why Sun was acting the way she was. The next day, Min-jae invited Yusul out for coffee. She seemed distant. "I'm surprised you asked me out for coffee," she said. Min-jae started. "I reached out to you because I think we could help each other." "Yeah? And how's that supposed to work?" Yusul asked. "I've been watching your social media. I've seen posts with celebrities, and also some with my dad." "That's right. I'm a fan of the star chef," Yusul admitted. "Besides that, I saw a post where you took a photo of his new restaurant and commented, 'Hope I get to be the chef's manager someday.'" That made her feel embarrassed. "It's good to have goals like that," Min-jae said. "So, if that goal could come true, I'd ask just one thing in return: pretend to date me for a few months." "Why?" Yusul asked. "Not just that. I'm also asking you to hurt someone who's madly in love with you. So tell me, would you be willing to do that?" Back at the protagonist's house, he's talking to Sun while they drink juice. "I'm not saying you did it every time, maybe 3 out of 10 times when I drank," he says. She looks at him, confused, unsure what to think. Embarrassed and awkward, they both start chugging juice like crazy until the bottle's empty. That night, Sun hugs him, and he hugs her back. "I know you did it to help me. And now, I can honestly say you're better than powdered milk." That makes Sun stand up and say, "Would you give up powdered milk for me? Then let the one without sin cast the first stone." And just like that, They shattered the illusion of just being friends. They were no longer a trio bound by friendship. Everything was about to change. After reading that passage from the Bible, the next day in cooking class, the protagonist is called but doesn't answer. He hasn't shown up. And this time, Sun's also missing, which starts rumors that they're skipping class together. This puts Min-jae on edge. At Shuho's house, he's cooking while Sun slowly wakes up. He thinks everything is going to change now that she's with him. And if things don't want to change, they just need time. After eating, Sun says goodbye and heads home. They both feel awkward. Before she leaves, she reminds him of his promise. You're not allowed to drink powdered milk again. Don't worry. I won't let you down, he replies confidently. Later, Sun does the laundry. Meanwhile, the protagonist visits an internet cafe to check out a Marine Corps ad. He tells us that he had originally planned to enlist to change his body, but intended to do it in the second semester. After hearing all the harsh comments about his appearance, and feeling that Sun was uncomfortable around him, he decides to enlist sooner. After that, he went to university alone. He barely spoke to Sun. Min-jae was clearly thrilled. Shuho, Sun, and Min-jae all knew that things wouldn't be the same. The growing distance between them was a sign. Their friendship needed saving. Then came the night. Before leaving, the protagonist talked to Sun. He told her he had enlisted in the military. Instead of being upset, Sun said, "You'll do great. I believe in you. Just take care of yourself." "I will. I'll stay healthy," he replied. And with that, Sun said goodbye. But before he left, Shuho said, "Sun, I've stopped drinking powdered milk." That made her smile. "You finally did something right," she said. And with that, he left. 1 year and 6 months later, a crowd of reporters waits eagerly for the arrival of a national Marine hero. A man steps out in uniform, and the reporters go wild, snapping pictures until he says, "Wait, I'm not the Marine hero. I'm just a regular guy." The photographers freeze. They read his name, Shuho. They're confused. "He looks just like the hero. You can smell Shuho's prime from here," someone says. 3 months later, spring finally arrives, and the new semester begins. The freshman's first class is with Professor Nawila, a TV celebrity. "Guys, I'm your professor. No need to be so formal. I know it's the first day, so let's go around and introduce ourselves. Lee Haram, please come up." "I'm Lee Haram. I'm 20 years old. I love cooking and eating, and that's about it." The professor checks the list and sees Shuho re-enrolled at the university. She steps outside to look for him but doesn't see him. Only a guy so ripped he looks unreal. She thinks more students should look like him, not like the old Shuho. She even wonders if she should invite him on TV. Students keep introducing themselves until they call Shuho. The professor announces that he's not present, but then a voice interrupts. "Of course I'm here. I'm back." She's stunned. "Don't tell me, you're really Shin Shuho?" Shuho introduces himself. "My name is Shuho. I'm not a new student. I was enrolled early last year, but I left to serve in the military. I'm back and ready to do my best. I hope you'll take care of me." Everyone stares in disbelief. The professor says, "I almost didn't recognize you." "That's right. I started working out," he replies. Outside on campus, girls are crowding around a guy like he's a celebrity. That guy is Min-jae, bragging about how he unsubscribed from his own dad. Everything is going well, until a sudden explosion of pure beauty changes the mood. Even Min-jae is stunned. From above, Shuho watches him. "Long time no see," he says. Min-jae realizes who it is. "Whoa, you even started mewing. Damn, you lost a ton of weight." "Exactly," Shuho replies, walking away. "Catch you later," he adds, leaving the girls drooling. "My mouth is watering," someone says. "But those looks, they're terrifying." In a cafe, Sun sits across from the protagonist. She seems distracted. "What's wrong? You look like you're in love or something." "You look beautiful," he tells her. She blushes. "You look super handsome." And just like that, Shuho and Sun were reunited after 3 months. But what happened to Shuho during that year and a half? Nothing but pain. He was desperate to change. He trained and trained until he became the man he is now. While he was transforming himself, Sun, Min-jae, and Yesul were already in their 3rd semester, and Professor Nawila had become the dean of the culinary department. During a cafe chat, Sun tells him she visited several times while he was in the military, but he wouldn't let her see him. "I'm sorry I couldn't see you while I was serving," he says. "It was my decision. I didn't want to lose focus on anything or anyone." You asshole. But still. Have you gone back to drinking powdered milk? No way. If I had, I wouldn't have this body. Besides, it's banned in the military. Well, I'm glad to hear that. While they talk, the protagonist's phone rings. He doesn't recognize the number but answers. Hello? Hi, Patricio. A female voice replies. It's Mari Hong, someone very close to the protagonist. When he started university, Mari was the dean's secretary. Since he was a cooking prodigy, they spent a lot of time together. She always called him Patricio. To him, she was like an older sister during those years. She says, I'm dying to pee my pants. Okay, then I'll come to your office. No, better come to Sigma, a restaurant. Professor Nawila asked me to organize the welcome party. And since you're new too, you should come. Okay, I'll be there. Then he tells Sun he has to leave but wants to talk to her another day and tell her many things. She quietly agrees. He says goodbye with, I'll call you later. As he leaves, Sun bangs on the table and feels her heart racing just from seeing him. The protagonist, seeing her well, feels really happy. At the restaurant, he meets the new students and Mari, who's showing old photos of Shuho, saying that's how he looked last year. The protagonist next to her says, Enough, don't reveal my dark past. The girls see the photos and say, but even when you were chubby, you were cute. I'm surprised how much you've changed. Thanks, he replies, no more. Lee Harem, nearby, looks at him as if evaluating. Beside her, Mari comments, I can't believe you're my favorite chubby guy. What are you talking about? You must be dizzy. I'm not chubby anymore. Well, from this angle, you still are. But you know, even if you were again, you'd still be my adorable chubby guy. So, do you see me as a man now? That depends. Look at me and I'll tell you. He remembers that years ago, she didn't even look at him because she was in her own world. Now, with his new look, she seems to see him differently. Mari, his older sister, currently has no boyfriend. What if I want to have some fun with you? He asks her. I never thought you'd say that. But after this, I have to go work out. I've become addicted. What if you work out at my place? She replies. He thinks. It doesn't matter that my old self had no chances. I'm going to take advantage of this. They take a taxi together, and the driver tells them to keep things discreet. Mari responds protectively. Sir, stop being a snitch. If you keep spying, I'll give you a knock on the head. Relax, girl. If you want, I'll turn on a light for you, he says, changing the subject. Arriving at the house, Mari gets ready to teach him the Bible. After all the excitement, the protagonist remembers the day everyone discovered he was chubby. But now it's different. Meanwhile, Harem, still at the restaurant, drinks juice and notices Shuho is gone. She suspects he left with Mari and decides to ignore it, thinking the place has lost its meaning. The chef arrives with a soup and asks her to taste it. Harem names the exact ingredients, surprising the chef. On the other hand, the protagonist asks Mari to teach him everything she knows because he wants someone to fall madly in love with him. That someone is Yusul. Mari starts training him intensely. At one point, Shuho is surprised by her energy. Push yourself, Shuho. Weren't you in the Marines? Ah, right. I'm in the Marines. This is nothing compared to the pain I've been through. I'll overcome this too. But in the end, he loses. Relax, dude. Some battles are meant to be lost. After that, they keep reading the Bible. What did you do to my boy? Calmer now, the protagonist asks Mari what happened while he was away, especially with Sun and Min-jae. Mari begins to explain. When he left, the rivalry between Sun and Min-jae increased by 1000%. Everyone knew they were the top players. They became eternal rivals. The protagonist can't believe it. He never thought Sun was so competitive. You could be wrong, Mari says. She's been working hard long before, even though she always lived in your shadow. You came first, and Min-jae second. Sun kept her role as best friend, congratulating both, but inside she felt envy. One day she tried a dish from Min-jae, and was surprised it was on the same level as yours. Still, she preferred to keep sharing things with you. Also, Sun had an inferiority complex. When you left, she and I often hung out. While drinking juice and eating meat, she told me she couldn't surpass geniuses like you and Min-jae. Her self-esteem was rock bottom. That's why she acted so furious. She was facing two geniuses, but she never gave up. She always wanted to be number one, with incredible ambition. After that talk, they returned to reading the Bible. Meanwhile, Sun practiced in the kitchen. It wasn't talent, it was pure dedication. But that night, distracted, she cut herself with a knife. She muttered she was very distracted and had felt strange for a year and a half. She wondered why Shoho had changed so much. The protagonist took every moment with Mari to learn everything about the Bible and move toward his real goal, Yusul. That night, Mari became his sensei with trial and error methods. She literally wore him out until dawn. 2 days later, on a Monday afternoon, Yusul arrived at a cafe. Across from her was the protagonist. She froze, unable to believe it was him. He looked at her and greeted naturally. "I'm here." The night before, Yusul had spoken with Min-jae, who was very worried because Shoho had grabbed his shoulder with a piercing, malicious look. Thinking about that, Yusul, sitting next to him, asks, "Are you still thinking about that piggy?" "He's changed so much," Min-jae answers. "His body looks perfect. He's lost half his weight." "Seriously? But don't worry so much about that." "Why are you so worried about him?" "Because you didn't see the look he gave me," Min-jae replies. "I, who haven't seen his skinny look yet, still think he's a loyal piggy. Anyway, relax, calm down. On Monday, when I meet him, I'll pressure him a bit. People's character never changes. No matter how much weight he's lost, his self-esteem is still low. I'm sure as soon as he sees me, he'll shake like a scared chicken. Manipulating Shoho is no longer your business, it's mine now." At lunch, she kept staring at him with her mouth open. Shoho says to her, "Stop staring at me. Do I look that amazing?" "Well, yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I never imagined you'd change so much. Don't get me wrong, you look great, but before you were chubby and cute. Remember the photo I showed you with my teddy bear? You looked a lot like him." The protagonist replies with a mischievous smile. Yeah, that's true. She can't figure out his smile, but knows he's being hypocritical. "Hey, when you were in the military, I looked at the teddy and thought of you." "Oh, so that's what it was? Thanks a lot. I also thought about you when I was in the military, and that helped me push myself." "Really? I was your emotional support during military life. How cool." "Yeah, it was all thanks to you that I never gave up during that tough training." She thinks she has him wrapped around her finger, believing he's still in love with her. But he means it for other reasons. During training, many times he wanted to quit, and the coach would come over to make him do the exercises properly. But he said he was already at his limit. The coach yelled, "Weren't you the one in the interview? Do you want to disappoint me? Do you want to disappoint yourself? Put some more power into it." He apologized while struggling, and the commander shouted, "Did you enlist in the Marines to make a change? Didn't you tell me you got injured because of your weight? And now you're thinking about quitting your training?" Those words made him snap back and stand up again despite the pain. He remembered what Yusul said, fired up even more, with perfect posture and a thirst for revenge, giving Yusul a fake smile. She notices the protagonist's piercing gaze. Still, she thinks she can keep him under control. Since he seemed very arrogant that day, she wants to teach him a lesson. So she says, "Remember what I told you in the garden, about keeping my promise." "What promise?" "The one about helping you get over your mother." The protagonist senses her intentions, and knows back then he might have fallen for it because he barely knew her. But now it's different. Though memories of Vietnam come back, he's certain he won't fall again. He calmly replies, "I've gotten over that since I enlisted in the military." Yusul, leaning on the table, answers, "What a shame. I wanted to be Shoho's support." Hearing that, the protagonist recalls a class with the sensei, who said, "If a girl's interested in something, just put your melons on the table. All you have to do is be straightforward and a little honest." So he says, "If you really want to support me, why don't we go out today?" At Minji's place, Min-jae is showering while worried about the protagonist, and whether something happened with Yusul. Shoho calls her repeatedly, but she doesn't answer. "No, bro, that ship has sailed. The protagonist and Yusul are on their astral trip." Him wanting to get lucky. Yusul doesn't plan to let that happen and tries to leave, but can't anymore. Then suddenly he says, "That's enough." She's confused. The protagonist gets ready to leave. "It's cold and you don't seem willing," Yusul thinks. "What do you mean not willing? What you should have said was, 'Let's go somewhere else.'" "Well, Yusul, let's go," the protagonist says. "Where to?" "Home. Yours or mine? Don't get me wrong, each to their own place. Also, pick up those cans. We have to take care of the planet," he says as he leaves. This is not what Yusul wants. Watching him walk away, she doesn't want to leave things like that. So she gets up and stops him, pulling him to a more private spot, taking the initiative. For the protagonist, it's perfect. He didn't expect it so soon. Basically, the most popular girl on campus is with him like it's nothing. As things progress, Yusol takes the lead, but the protagonist remembers when he overheard her badmouthing him behind the door. So he thinks about revenge. Looking into her eyes, he knows she likes to cook churros. With the sensei's advice in mind, he knows he has to tame her. He starts doing little things Yusol doesn't want to allow unless she surrenders completely. But he doesn't care about her expressions, and Yusol increasingly thinks about going to church on Sundays. Knowing her preferences, Shuho wins her over. For the protagonist, he's already succeeded. The next day, Sun is running as usual until she arrives somewhere. Thank God for this view. She recalls the results of her competition with Min Jae. Their team lost. Min Jae won, which makes her sad. He wants to make her suffer, until she approaches him. Friends, seriously? This is next level simp. Still, she doesn't get discouraged and encourages her friends to try again next year. One of them comments, Shuho will be on our team if you ask him. With him, we'll crush the competition. Hearing that, she gets angry. What do you mean, Shuho? Are you saying I can't beat Min Jae alone? I'll never be on a team with him. With that in mind, she runs happily, looking at the bright sun. What she sees in the sun is the protagonist's face. Get your face out of there, dumbass, she says. Out of frustration, her heart races. In class, a professor gives instructions on how to cut, etc. The protagonist takes notes, while Harem watches him. The professor gives them a dish to prepare in 40 minutes, in pairs. The protagonist gets ready, and Harem doesn't miss the chance to ask to be his partner. He agrees, and they start working on the dish. Harem says, even though this is easy for you, you were practically alone 2 years ago at Sun's level. He asks, are you a fan of Sun? If everyone at the academy loves Min Jae, I adore Sun. Ah, now I get it. Meanwhile, Yusol is worried. The reason is that when she was with the protagonist, Min Jae called her. The protagonist noticed and told her to answer without problems. She takes the call, and Min Jae asks if she's already tried the protagonist. Yes, she did, but in a different way. Also, Min Jae gets upset because she didn't answer immediately. The protagonist gets lucky, while she's still on the call. Shuho is listening, and Min Jae too. This makes Yusol nervous, so she marks her territory with Shuho and leaves Min Jae confused. Almost immediately Min Jae asks, what was that? She replies, it was just a mosquito. Okay, then take a picture and send it to me. I can't. I flushed it down the toilet. I'm a bit tired, so I'm hanging up. And she hangs up. What's happening with Yusol is unbelievable. At home, she thinks she can't see Min Jae that night. Also, she feels that if this keeps up, she'll end up, embarrassed, going to church on Sunday. That night, Shuho went to see his sensei Mari to tell her what happened with Yusol. He was working overtime and explained everything nervously, in detail. She tells him, wow, you have quite the imagination, but that girl's not normal either. She was the one who dragged you in, right? Yeah, I was surprised at first too. Can I ask who she is? I can't tell you. It's a secret. Okay, that's fine. Now I have to go. Wait, kid, where are you going? You're staying to make my overtime more fun. I don't think you'll drag me too. I won't drag you, you'll drag me. And that's how they read the Bible. All sinners. Meanwhile, that night, Min Jae met with Yusol to get lucky. But knowing what happened with Shuho, he said he couldn't. Min Jae gave up. He also said, you've changed a lot. You practiced with Shuho yesterday but didn't teach him anything. She notices the tone in his words, stands up, and replies, stop joking. I didn't do anything with Shuho. Okay, don't be like that. I know it's a joke. Anyway, it was just a question. A few days later, when the weekend comes, she goes to her father's house. She sees the taxi all dirty but doesn't find it strange. Inside, she finds him lying down, surrounded by juice, in a pathetic scene. Here we learn why he's such a good cook. His mother was an expert, able to run a restaurant alone. Maybe that's why he inherited her genes. But after she left, he had to improve on his own because of his father's abuse. His father forced him to make a soup just like his mother's. If it didn't taste the same, he'd hit him and throw the soup on the floor, yelling, if you don't do something right, you're out on the street. That made him go from restaurant to restaurant learning to cook. Chefs were used to seeing him beaten. They said learning at his age was dangerous. But he convinced them that if he didn't learn, he could die at home for not knowing how to make a proper soup. But since you don't improve overnight, his father kept throwing the soups away. Once, Sun defended him, yelling at his father for abusing an 11-year-old boy. The father, totally broken, reacted a little. From that day, Sun accompanied him home, worried about him. She was practically always with him, hugging him while he cried. That was his childhood. He had to become an expert cook to survive. Finally, he left his last soup with a note. Father, in this pot I've made this soup with all my effort. I hope things go well for you from now on. That was his last connection with his father. That night, he calls Sun, exhausted. Hey friend. Today I ended my relationship with my father. I'm tired. Why don't you come over for a while and keep me company? I want to see you. Meanwhile, Yusol and Min-jae are talking about a famous girl in Shoho's group. Her name is Harem, and she has 200,000 followers. She went on the school trip. She's pretty and charismatic. Yusol remembers that years ago, there was a girl who could identify the ingredients of any soup just by tasting it. She did this with every soup in front of her, always answering correctly. Everyone thought it was amazing, even Sun, except Shoho, who didn't react. After that memory, Min-jae asks Yusol why she's bringing that up. She says Harem is on Shoho's team, leaving Min-jae confused. He thinks it would be fun to steal that from Shoho and asks Yusol before he does. What Min-jae doesn't know is that she's at home, guiding Shoho. She remembers how he corrected her, and gets upset he hasn't recognized her since they knew each other before the military. So she asks him to treat her like they already know each other. She also asks him to treat her to something later. Shoho agrees and starts cooking. She's amazed, imagining the protagonist as her personal chef, excited to discover his flavor. Sun arrives where the protagonist is, drinking juice, starting the conversation. So you left your family? Yeah. Right now you're my only family. Hearing that, Sun takes a sip and says, Family? I'm tired of you saying that. We went a whole year without seeing each other, and you keep saying I'm your family. Then you call me and say you miss me. I'm really confused. It's not like that. Sorry for being rude, but I wanted us to take some time after what happened that night. You know. Yeah, I know very well. I spent a year and a half without hearing from you. You shouldn't have made me wait that long. I understand that because of what Min-jae did to you, you're full of revenge. But I didn't do anything to you. I know. To be honest, there's a reason I didn't contact you. You became my first love. And even if it was a mistake or not, how could I forget you? I've thought about you every day. I tried to contact you every holiday. But when I thought of you, I also remembered when we read the Bible together. That word surprises her. He feels awkward, and they keep drinking juice quietly. Sun, I can understand. It's been a year and a half, and I distanced myself from you so I wouldn't lose you. Sun, if I told you to pretend nothing happened, would you do it? Maybe it was all a mistake. Oh, you're such a jokester. Do you really think that makes sense now? Well, what can I say? I'm a little disappointed in you too, because you never told me anything. Or what? Did you want me to say I want to go to church every Sunday, and that I didn't make such a big deal out of this mistake like you are now? People start to listen, but she keeps raising her voice. There were times I wanted us to get back together, and it would be a lie if I said I only want to see you as a friend now. Despite everything, I thought it was more valuable to keep our friendship. He tries to act like nothing happened. So that was it then? And he tells her, don't force yourself to be like before. Since he had something on his face, he wipes it off and keeps talking. Sun, let me ask you something. Do you regret doing anything with me? She kicks him and stands up angry. I have to go. I have early classes tomorrow, and besides, my mom is a bit sick and can't open the restaurant. The protagonist laughs. Oh, the mother-in-law is sick. It's not that, she replies casually. She just has a little cold. What mother-in-law? She attacks him and says, you lost weight and went blind. What mother-in-law? And so, they say goodbye until the next day. The next day, we see the protagonist enter the professor's office. Professor, were you looking for me? Yes, come in please. Bring a chair. He obeys, sits in front of her, and says, Professor, the more I think about it, the funnier it seems. What's funny? That you didn't recognize me the first day and almost gave me an absence strike. So that's it. I still can't get used to your new look, Shoho. The change you made is incredible. Well, maybe I lost some weight, but it's not like it's that surprising. I'm embarrassed. Years can pass, you can lose weight, but my eyes will always see you like back then. If you keep saying that, Professor, you're going to make me nervous. After all, I'm a big fan of yours. Hearing this, the professor thinks Shuho hasn't changed at all. His appearance has, but he's still the same as always. She decides to tease him a bit. Did you know I now teach cooking shows? Yes, I'm aware. We learn the professor has grown a lot in the TV world, inviting popular figures. Her show got so famous that when she appeared on another, she ended up being the star. Before, the protagonist was her assistant. After that, haters started leaving negative comments. The professor serves him coffee. God, the teacher, says Shuho. Shuho, when you left, it didn't make much sense to have the star chef's son as an assistant. I think I'd be more comfortable if you were by my side again. Yes, I understand, Professor. Really? Perfect. I only have one condition. I want to cook at your house. Only that condition? How many times have I been to your house and cooked for you? Yeah, that's true. Shuho remembers that he actually went to her house many times. She used him as a leftovers vacuum, but he didn't complain. He ate everything since it was an honor to try his favorite professor's food. The professor considered him harmless, like Mari years ago. Before, she would have been offended, but now she doesn't care. She says it would be weird for him to cook at her house, and they should just go to a restaurant. She wants to make a good impression. Why now and not before? He asks. Well, because you exercised. And also, I think you've matured. He notices the professor is acting weird around him. He imagines several scenarios but then answers. Professor, you can only cook at the restaurant if I help you. At the business university, Yasul is in class super focused. But she's actually thinking about Shuho and everything they did. She remembers that Min-jae, in a friend's chat, told her about his bolder personality. She finds it incredible that Shuho knows her taste so well. At that moment, she gets a message. Shuho, are you in class? Yasul, yes. Shuho, what are you doing? Yasul, taking a break. Shuho, you promised to be honest with me, right? Show me it's true. Send me proof. Yasul, better if we meet like last time. Shuho, no. If you don't send proof, this is over. She gets angry but ends up obeying. Not wanting to send photos, she makes a video call. So, they schedule a date that same night. Soon after, news appears. Professor Nawila's show has lost popularity. Nawila isn't worried. She calls her agent, who has a plan to get her fame back. He asks if she contacted Min-jae. Where is he? She asks. She answers she was about to introduce him with her former assistant. Shuho? The chubby one? Her agent asks. Yes, he's willing to film. We're professionals in statistics. According to the data, he received a lot of criticism. Listen to me, he's the salvation. Just prepare everything. Harem hangs up and thinks, I want to know if he's better than Min-jae. I'm excited. Right after class, Yasul goes straight to the date. Meanwhile, she gets a call from Min-jae. Where are you? He asks. Do you have plans tonight? No, but I'm really tired. What if you rest at my place? No, I want to go to mine. Sorry. Well, nothing to do then. See you tomorrow. Min-jae, after hanging up, realizes something weird is going on. That night, Yasul meets Shuho on their date. Well, we can pretty much guess what happened just by looking at how they arrived. Yasul yells right in the protagonist's face. If I came all this way, is it to evangelize me like the bitch I am or what? So the protagonist lets her in, on a mission to fulfill her dream, reading the Bible 2 days in a row. Of course, this makes Yasul even happier, blaming the protagonist for being the one who turns her so devoted. So, as the days pass reading the Bible, the protagonist feels that the girl who once seemed so superior, who had given him false hope, is now so low she's practically fallen at his feet. On the other hand, Yasul feels no shame at all, because she believes she has found the person who truly understands her whole body. A few days later, Shuho goes to the professor's show taping. The manager can't believe it when he sees him. He's surprised that the guy who used to be fat is now so attractive. The professor confirms he's the right one to boost her show, and the manager agrees. Now he looks like an idol. And as soon as he steps on the show and people realize he's the same chubby guy from 2 years ago, the impact will be so huge it'll break more records than One Piece's manga volume 5. The manager tells him it's going to be a bomb so big it'll be on the news, videos, and other shows. The professor loves the idea, and so the show starts. The professor introduces him as a normal guy, drawing attention for how good-looking he is. But it's not time to drop the bomb yet. The professor recalls that when he was her assistant, they hardly let him appear on camera because of his looks. He had to watch everything from afar so he wouldn't reveal himself too much to the camera. Also, Min-jae had caused him to get haters because of his appearance. So now he can't take it anymore. In front of the camera, he says, "Hi, remember me? I'm Shuho, the student who introduced himself before Min-jae." He says it with a sarcastic smile. That night, in Minji's car, Yesul is watching Shuho's broadcast. Min-jae is surprised that he made that presentation in front of all his haters. "How do you know he has to pretend?" she asks. "Did you see the look Shuho just gave? It's full of arrogance. It stinks. Even now, he's still crawling in front of me." This makes Min-jae burst out laughing. This is too much. Like Shuho is overdoing his expression. But when he shoots a piercing look, Yesul gets nervous. Min-jae isn't buying it. He knows something is going on between Yesul and Shuho, and he won't be able to stop it. After the show, they went to Minji's father's restaurant, the VIP room. There they are welcomed by the talented chef, Minji's father. At the table are Shuho, the professor, the manager, and a mystery girl. They're served increasingly delicious food. Everyone is amazed, and the professor lets the chef know. With a smile, the chef says he already knew they were coming from the show, but he didn't expect the professor to know Shuho. Hearing this, the manager wonders, who the hell is Shuho that even one of the most famous chefs knows him? Shuho stands up, hugs the chef, and says, "Hello, chef. How have you been?" "Very well. Today, when I saw you on TV, I was surprised at how much weight you've lost. You look even better in person." "How kind of you, chef. I see you haven't changed at all." Minji's father, the chef, is so famous that many men admire him for his sexuality. He's like a Henry Cavill. In fact, on YouTube, his son Min-jae has 500k subscribers thanks to being his son. But that's nothing compared to the chef's channel, which has 2.5 million subscribers. In the future, that channel, Dreaming, doesn't cost anything. The chef continues serving everyone until he pours their wine glasses. To him, Shuho is like a son. He comes closer and asks how the three musketeers, Min-jae, Sun, and him, have been doing. Shuho answers nervously, "We're still friends." Finally, the chef invites him to his house. Shuho says he'll visit someday. He says goodbye to the table, leaving the manager surprised. He didn't expect the chef to be so kind. But Shuho isn't buying all that. Minutes later, everyone leaves to go home. The professor is dizzy from drinking too much juice, so they send her by car. The manager, who's never seen her like this and with so little juice, asks Shuho to accompany her home. Together with the mystery girl, they're a bit worried. Shuho agrees, gets in the car, and says goodbye for the next broadcast. Once in the car, the professor mentions his name. It turns out it was all an act to get Shuho to her house. She confesses right away, "I'm over 40, but I'm still a woman, and since faith can do anything, I want to read the Bible with you." The Uber driver looks at them in the rearview mirror and thinks, aren't these a teacher and student? Do they think they're in an 18 hentai or what? They both get excited, and when they arrive at the professor's house, they start reading the Holy Testament very obediently. As expected from someone as experienced as the professor, she used an ago technique that left the protagonist devastated, and so they burned the show all night. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to like and share. Remember, if you want the next part, just comment next part. With that said, I'll see you in the next video.